Brought to you by the Every Dollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's The Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create amazing relationships. I am Rachel Cruz, hosting this hour with my good friend and best-selling author, Dr. John Deloney. And we are answering your questions about life, money, relationships, career, anything and everything. So give us a call at 888-825-5225. All right, we're going to go to the phones. And is it Torin from Boston? Hey, welcome to the show.
Hey, guys. Thank you guys for taking my call.
Absolutely. Is it Torin? Did I get that right?
Yep, that's perfect.
Awesome. How
What's
can we
up?
help?
So I'm an 18-year-old, and I'm a senior in high school this year, and I wanted pretty much advice on what to tell my parents about college. I've been watching you guys for a while now, and I know the biggest thing was, don't go into debt, don't take out loans if you can, try and cash flow it. So I figured I would want to go to a cheaper school. I was in Massachusetts, so it's community college is free. So I figured I would go there, and I could transfer to a state school where it's an 100% acceptance rate out of the community college I want to go to. And my parents were very against this idea. They wanted me to go play a sport in college and go to a private university. They told me that debt doesn't matter. And yeah, I just wanted to make sure I was making the right decision because they don't agree with it.
Are they paying for it?
I went to community college. No, they're not paying for it.
Yeah, they don't get a vote then.
I brought that up, but they said they're going to be kicking me out, so I'll have to pay for housing. They also take the car and my phone away.
I mean, if they want to throw a grown-up temper tantrum, that's like the most babyish thing I've ever.
Wait, I want to know more. Why? That feels very extreme. It's one thing if your parents kind of turn their nose up at community college because they're very educated. New England's
totally get that.
Yeah.
That's
It's
fine.
oh my gosh, can't believe you're going to go to community college. But to kick you out and take your car and your phone, I mean, that's a.
Or if they said,
is there a religious element to this? Like to go to a Catholic school?
No.
I don't know, or any level of a religion conviction there?
No, I don't really understand why. They just said it would look bad on resumes, and they think I'm making the wrong decision. They said I was being pretty rude about it, so I think that's why.
well, if I have no problem with the parents saying, hey, as for me and my house, you're going to this school, and we're paying for it. And if you want to go somewhere else, you're on your own. I have no problem with that at all. That happens all the time. And if they say, hey, in this house, we go to Harvard, and so we've created this fund, and you're going to Harvard if you get in. I have no problem with that. If they tell you, you will not go to that school that you can afford, which is free, you will go take out loans and put yourself behind for the next 15 years of your life or 20 years of your life, depending on what private school you go to. And if you don't do that, we're going to take your cell phone. We're going to take our ball and we're going to go home. We're not playing with you anymore. That just sounds like real childish, immature behavior. Because what they're doing is they're asking you to have all the skin in the game, and they're just going to sit on the sidelines and holler at you.
I thought the same thing. I don't really know what their plan was for it.
Is this out of character for them? Were you shocked by this, or is this I could see mom and dad doing this?
I already knew that they didn't want me living there after I was 18. They said they would help me out a little bit before. It was definitely out of character for them to once they kind of said my mom said I could keep the car. My dad was very against keeping the car after that. But
were you being a jerk, dude? Were you being an 18-year-old just like a turd, or were you being kind and thoughtful?
I will admit, for the first 30 minutes talked about this, I was very kind and peaceful, and then I started to. I wasn't as nice as I should have been to them.
All right, I spent my whole career working with 18-year-olds. Go tell your parents you're sorry.
All right.
Go be a respectful 18-year-old son and say, hey, I got fired up and I acted like a kid, and I'm sorry. I do not want to go into debt for college, and I respect I respect you want your kids. You want to be able to tell your friends that your kid graduated from this college, and I get that you don't like this.
Don't say that. That's disrespectful, isn't it?
I know that was me just having a little bit of a mommy dig. But she wants to be able to go to bridge club and tell well, my kid is. And Rachel, we used to call it the soccer mom scholarship. I worked at one university. We would lose students. We would give somebody a half scholarship. The tuition was, I'm making up a number, $20,000.
Yeah.
And they would go to another school that cost $50,000, but they got a $1,000 JV soccer scholarship, and we would lose them, which is a right? It's a $30,000 a year move, or $120,000 move
to play JV soccer.
So that parents could be like, oh, my kid's playing on a soccer scholarship.
Yeah.
Right? It costs them money, like six figures, right?
It's $1,000 scholarship.
But I would tell your parents you're sorry, and then you have to make an 18-year-old decision.
All right.
Yeah, and Torrin, let me say this too.
Okay.
And John's the education
Nerd.
He loves education, so he can maybe back me up on this. Just for perspective, so you're in Boston, and we have friends that came from that area, and the way even the Northeast, I would say even specifically, the way they view education, there is a high
premium,
high regard. Like it is everything. When you come to the South, it's important.
Say it, Rachel.
It's important, but it's not life. Like there's a belief of like you can scratch and claw and start a business and be as successful as the guy that has the college degree. Like or that, I mean, whether you go to college or not, there's kind of a micro, like just kind of get in there and you figure it out and you can still be successful, but it doesn't have this air about it, which I'm not saying all New Englanders have that, but I do think as an 18-year-old that's growing up in that environment, I mean, you're in Boston, like so just know there's a world outside of that. Not
Sure.
that we have it right necessarily. I'm not saying that, but you can be successful. You can meet people and network outside of a college. Like there are ways to live life that is not one path of just, it has to be this prestigious education. If you don't get this, it's going to look bad on resumes. You're never going to get a job. You're going to be homeless and you're going to die. Like that's not the route. That's not right. So just know there is more to life outside of possibly the bubble in which education is talked about in your family.
And for whatever it's worth, dude.
But John loves it, so
No,
just
I love
maybe
it,
he'll
But
talk.
I've got a. I think one of the most mission-minded institutions in the United States can be found inside of community colleges. And for whatever it's worth, my mom, Dr. Deloney, the first Dr. Deloney was my mother, who graduated in her 50s with her PhD, started at a community college as a tenured full professor, right? So here's what you can do with a community college education, anything you want to.
Yep.
Period. Maybe you have to work harder to get job number one. Fine. But by the way, you're going to transfer out, right? You'll go to a state school or to a private, wherever you end up on a transfer out, right?
There's there's a program called Mass Transfer, and it guarantees acceptance as well as some other scholarships as long as you maintain a certain grade point average in community college.
Man,
yeah, that's good. And
you're right on, brother.
And and for fun too, Torrin, like just run some numbers on the ROI of the private college that you'd go into debt for. Average interest rate on a student loan, how long that would probably take you to pay off if you got out of school with an average, maybe an above average salary, let's say. Run those numbers out, having to repay that, starting in a financial hole, significantly, 6 figures probably for this school, versus getting through it debt-free, doing the free community college, working, saving up, graduating from a state school, starting off and starting to invest the moment you get your first paycheck because you're going to have money and not be in a hole. Financially, from the math perspective, who comes out ahead?
Oh, yeah. Especially get started.
All right.
Yeah.
And for
Good
everybody
for you,
listening,
Torrin. I'm proud of you for thinking outside the box, but be nice to your parents.
be respectful. Treat your parents with dignity. And for everybody, I love private schools. I've worked at multiple private schools. I would love for my kids. I love private schools. I just don't like parents lobbing grenades at their kids and saying, hey, to prop us up, you go do this thing that's going to cost you 10, 20 years of your life for making us feel good. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Hey, George Camel here with a not-so-fun fact. Every American Social Security number, including our children's, has been hacked and is now on the dark web. And this is not a scare tactic, this isn't fear-mongering, it's a reality that could turn into a nightmare for a lot of people. And believe me, I've been a victim of identity theft, and I would prefer it never happen again. Because once the bad guys have your social, it's the lifeblood for all of their activity. Think of all the places you use your social. Your banking, your employer, government offices, utilities, cell phone companies, everywhere. And once they've got it, thieves can open new accounts, drain existing ones, steal payroll, and wreak havoc all in your name. Not cool. And to be real, it's not a matter of if, but when. So you've got to protect yourself with Xander's ID theft protection. Xander has all the cyber tools to help, including home title monitoring, full recovery services if you do become a victim, and stolen funds protection. Not to mention, it's the best value on the market. They've been protecting my family for over a decade, and I trust them to protect yours too. So get enrolled today by calling 800-356-4282 or just visit Xander.com. That's Xander.com.
Welcome back to the Ramsey Show. We're going to Chris in Dallas, Texas. Hey, Chris. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how are you guys?
We're doing great. How can we help?
So my girlfriend of just over a year now moved in about 5 months ago from her grandmother's, who has, supported her. For context, I'm 26 and she's about to be 25. I do have a career at the moment and currently pay all the bills, and it's kind of become a weight on me that she isn't really contributing.
Because
So I
she
was looking
doesn't
for
have a
some
job.
advice. Well, she works part-time. Back in February, she started a certification course to be a farm tech.
Okay.
And since then, she discovered that the certification alone doesn't get her very much in the job market. So she's working on the test, but it's, kind of slow going.
So what did she say when you sat down and talked to her about this?
She just isn't motivated. I mean, it's not something that she feels that she needs to do or has to do, and I'm having trouble with that.
So,
That's fair.
So, yeah.
There's another adult in the
Here's
relationship
the thing.
that's
Both
not.
of you are correct right now. She doesn't have to do anything because she gets to play house with you and you pay all the bills. She gets to live an imaginary life together.
We jumped the gun on that. I do agree, but the situation did also call for it. Her grandmother had to downsize, and she's on Social Security. So,
well, it is what it is.
Take that upon myself, but
no. I mean, I'm saying, I'm not trying to be judgy. I'm just saying she's got a cush situation, and so she's right to say I don't have to because she doesn't. You're still you're not going to kick her out.
I lived with my mother a couple years ago, but I decided I wanted more for myself.
That's right.
So, Chris, does this change from a relationship standpoint?
That's the problem.
And this is, I mean, call me old school. This is where the complication happens when you act like you're married and you're not, right? And you're moving in together, right? And all of it. Like, this is what ends up happening, that it's not as easy as like, oh, I found this kind of thing about my girlfriend, and this may be a deal breaker, but I need to figure it out on a couple more hangouts. And now I'm going to call it quits. Now it's much harder to call it quits when she's living there, right? So this is part of that complication. So does it give you as the kids would call it, a beige flag or a red flag when it comes to like her work ethic and who she is? Like, are you starting to see other parts of her that concern you for a long-term relationship?
Well, the thing is, I see myself in her from a few years ago. So I was, in the same situation, lived with my mom, but I had that realization. Unfortunately, I don't know how to help her come to that point.
So as two old married people will tell you, you can't.
And that was thousands of dollars of therapy that you just got. That
we just give it to you for free. The earlier and quicker you can realize you can't make somebody that you love and care about come to any sort of realization.
And you can't think, oh, if I can just have the right phrase, the light bulb will come on. If I could just have that right sit down, she'll see it if I just say it the right way.
Or I wanted something more for my life and now look at me. That's not how most of the world works. Most people want to take the easiest path possible, and she has that with you.
Right.
But my guess is that beyond the money part, like going back to what Rachel's saying, this is an integrity issue. This is a character issue. This is like, oh my gosh, this is going to show up with kids. Mm-hmm. This is going to show up with when my mom needs
holidays.
to move in with us.
It's like,
it's always going to be a thing that she didn't want to do it. She's just not going to, and we're seeing that in real time. She doesn't want more for her life. And that's hard to stomach.
And again, Chris, we're not talking about that. We're saying, oh my gosh, she has to like go be this like boss babe and go make 6 figures. No. She just needs to like pay bills.
Well,
like,
even deeper than that.
Right.
Y'all had an agreement. That forget the working part. Like y'all made an agreement.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Here's who we're gonna move in together, and here's who we're gonna be. And 5 or 6 months in, she's like, "Yeah, I'm not doing that."
Were the expectations, Chris, pretty clear moving in, or if she was on the phone, would she say, "No, that's not what we talked about"? What would she say?
I mean, I had explained that I would take care of her until she got her stuff together. But so the agreement was that she would. But now at this point, she moved in at her friend's temporarily, and she thinks that that's the better option, but I don't see that as the case.
You said she moved in with her
we
friends?
need to figure out how to. I'm sorry.
She moved in with her friends?
Right. And her friend has all her bills paid by her parents.
So she's moved out.
Oh, so she's
where
not.
y'all
Oh,
live?
y'all aren't living together anymore.
As of a few days ago.
Oh,
Did y'all
wow,
break up?
Chris.
Or did you kick her out? What happened?
No, just I confronted her about it again. And
She got
was
mad
a little
and left.
insensitive.
Okay.
Yeah. So-
Oh, wow.
So is
Chris,
this over?
you've made a lot of more moves than I was thinking. Good for you.
Well, now I'm, wondering if I
I'm
should cut my
single.
losses or, which that's not up to y'all, but
Yeah. Here's the thing. I want you to have a little bit of time just with Chris.
right.
And I want you to actually sit down and be honest with yourself. And it's going to be tough because you're emotional. You feel the pain. You love this person. You care about this person. Here's the hardest part. You had plans with this person,
Mm-hmm.
right? You started creating pictures for tomorrow, and this person was in those pictures. And then it was revealed this person doesn't want that same life that you want. And then this person just bailed on you when you said, hey, I want to sit down and have this conversation. And so just because something hurts doesn't mean it's not the right move. But I want you to be honest with yourself. And by the way, me and my wife broke up 3 or 4, 5 times when we were dating. So that doesn't mean it's over either. But
Yeah, and she has popped out before. She gets scared
okay,
of her emotions, I think, and but
I think the deeper question is, what's this life we're building together? What's it going to look like? And is she a kind of person you want to build a life with? And I think you having the courage to be honest and say, so far, no. Because when the going gets hard, you kind of just don't want to do anything. And she might say, I want someone that's just going to take care of me and do whatever I want, whenever I want it, and I want to be a princess. And you can say, amazing. It's not going to be I don't want to ride or die like that. And you get to choose, you both get to choose that.
right.
Right? And that may mean that both of you end up heartbroken for a season.
Yeah, sounds like that's it.
But I hate it for you.
Well, that's okay.
Can I tell you,
Part of
it's
it, I suppose.
most people wouldn't have the courage to do what you did.
Mm-hmm.
To sit down and say, hey, here's what we agreed on. Here's what I want. Are you still in? And she said, no. Most people go ahead and get married, and they figure this out in year 5 or 6 or 7 with 2 kids when they've had enough.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make your pain today feel any better. I'm sorry, man. I hate it for you.
That's all right.
I hate it for you.
Appreciate y'all's time.
Can I give you one homework assignment?
Sure.
How old are you again? 26, you say?
26.
Right. I want you tonight by yourself. No alcohol, nothing. I want you to write a letter to 30-year-old Chris. Okay?
Okay.
And I want you to tell him the things that you started to do today so that he could have the life he had when he was 30. And if she's in that picture, then go call her tomorrow. But I want you to be clear about what you want your house to feel like, the partnership you have with a romantic partner. I want you, like, financially, what is this thing going to look like when you're 30? And what must be true today so you can begin taking those steps? You're just going to reverse engineer it. But I want you to write a letter to yourself. Okay? Put it in a drawer somewhere and open it when you're 30. But it's a way to get your head out of this immediate pain and this immediate motion and get your head back up on the horizon and say, okay, what needs to be true for tomorrow? Okay?
Okay. I'll give that a try.
All right. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks, Chris.
Best of luck to you.
Yeah, and always remember when you're setting a very reasonable boundary or expectation for someone, you're not being cruel.
No.
Like this is the world, and we have to pay bills, we have to do things, right? So you're not asking this like insane request, right? I mean, this is pretty basic stuff, Chris. So I don't want you to feel like the bad guy in it. I mean, seriously, I don't know. It's pretty basic, but I'm proud of you and like really encouraged that you had the courage to set that boundary in hopefully a very kind way, which I think you did. You seem like a great guy. So sorry, Chris, but glad you called in. Hope we could help. Hey, you guys, health insurance costs are only moving one way, and that way isn't down. And if higher costs aren't enough, the wait times to see your doctor are longer, and it's harder than ever to get anything approved through the bureaucracy. So, if you feel like the system is working against you, try a biblically based alternative to health insurance. Christian Healthcare Ministries. CHM is a health cost-sharing ministry that's helped hundreds of thousands of families like yours take care of over $11 billion in medical bills since 1981. CHM has also helped them stay true to their values and avoid miles of red tape. And CHM support goes far beyond meeting financial needs. They also help meet spiritual needs. Members become part of a family who will pray with them and for them when they experience a medical event. So listen, y'all, there's a better way to take care of healthcare costs. CHM programs start as low as $98 a month. So learn more today and join at chministries.org/budget. That's chministries.org/budget.
This is the Ramsey Show, 888-825-5225. Hey, listen, if you are concerned about the economy and you just see your neighbor pulling into your nice middle-class neighborhood in a car that you like, how are you affording that? Why would you why? And you just wish people around you had the wisdom of this show. For no money, you don't have to send any money. All you have to do is like or subscribe to the show. It puts the show up into the algorithms and it kicks it into the feeds of your neighbors, into their podcast feeds, into their YouTube feeds. It just sends the show everywhere. And the more people who subscribe and like, and I know it's a pain in the butt, and I know it sometimes you have to log in, it's worth it for everybody. It puts the show in front of more people. And so for everybody, it just doesn't cost anything to help out your neighbor.
And share the podcast though too. I mean, I get my crime podcasts that I listen to from friends, even here at the office, and we'll send each other podcasts that we love. So if you love it,
or if there's an episode you think, "Ooh, my mom needs to hear this," send it to her, right? Or a buddy that this marriage sounds like yours. Send it to him. Be careful.
And make sure to tell him that.
Be careful with that. But yeah, that's right. Hey, let's go out to Honolulu and talk to the MAX. What's up, Max?
Hey, how you doing? Thank you for taking my call.
You bet, man.
How's Hawaii, Max?
It's nice. It's nice. Sunny.
You're not Max
wonderful.
Holloway, are you? One of my heroes?
No.
All right. What's up?
All right. I was calling because something happened where my brother kind of holds a lot of anger towards me because he got fired from his job and I had to take it over. And I'm getting ready to move out now, and I'm worried it's going to cause more family disconnect. So I'm just trying to get some help navigating the situation.
Is it a family business?
It's like a financial and family thing. I mean, or the business. No, it's somebody we know that he worked for.
What is it? What kind of job? What kind of business is it?
It's a pool cleaning job.
Okay.
And I take home about 50 a year, so it's pretty good.
50 a year. And why did he get fired?
He had gone on a trip for an extended leave, and I was covering it for him, and the boss at the end of it decided to fire him and offered me the job.
Oh, man. So you did a better job?
I don't know.
It was just he didn't break a rule. You just out-cleaned the pools, and the boss was like, I kind of want you instead.
Yeah, there were some issues with him, and that was a part of it.
Okay.
I wasn't sure if my brother would even be let back after anyways, but
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what is his beef with you that you weren't ride or die? Forget these guys. Is that the beef?
I think what happened was he's just feeling like he lost out on a good opportunity.
He did. And he wasn't a good worker.
Wants somebody to blame for it, and it's me. He wants to blame me for it instead of himself.
All right.
And I'm okay with that. The main issue is the money from the job helps financially support my family. I come from a single mom household, and I'm 19. I'm trying to move out and be on my own, which would mean that I wouldn't have the same amount of money from my mom anymore, and I'm worried that's going to create even more of a family disconnect. So I don't really know what to do.
What's your mom do?
She's a cleaner. She works 2 jobs cleaning.
Okay.
How much does she make?
I'm not sure exactly. I think I went over it with her one time.
Okay. How much difference does she need? Does she how much are you covering the bills in the house?
I'm contributing it was about $1,500 that I was paying off some debt on the water bill, and then now it's to about $1,300. I pay some of rent. I buy all of our food, and I cover the water.
Does she have other struggles, Max?
No, I mean, I think
Like with addiction or with mental health challenges? Do what?
No, I don't. Sorry, what was that?
I'm asking, does she have?
No, not with addiction or mental health.
Okay,
no.
so
she just yeah.
Why have you become the caretaker of your mom?
I think it's really expensive here, and it's hard to afford to live out here if you aren't making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year.
Exactly.
And I have two. The main thing is that my mom, I think she'd be fine on her own, but I have two younger sisters, and that's where I feel weird leaving. I feel like I'm abandoning them.
How old are they?
They're 11. They turned 11 yesterday.
Is it at a point where you need to sit down with your mom and have a hard conversation about the financial realities?
So I have about 6 months ago, and I've been keeping up. I told her 6 months ago I plan on moving out in March.
Okay.
And she hasn't really done much action towards like figuring out another situation. So I don't know like if I should just stay and keep helping so that they can stay in their house, or if I should just go on and, put my oxygen mask on before theirs,
Man.
Well, I just feel like, Max, you've put yourself in a caretaker's role at 19. You know what I mean? And it's heroic, right? In one sense. I mean, you've really stepped up and helped your mom, but this will be your whole life unless something else changes. And I feel like that's unfair to you in your life, in your future family, to feel like you have to be the one to carry this burden. And I understand obviously why that is, but long term, I just don't think it's fair for you to play this role.
I think I've come to a similar conclusion. I just feel like I'm like.
Sure. What do you do? Does your mom lose the house with your two little sisters, right?
Yeah. And then it's like, where do they go? We have family here, and I'm sure they could move in with my grandparents or something.
But hold on. Your mom also plays an integral part of this. If you told me, hey, my mom really struggles with addiction and my mom struggles with some mental or emotional health disorders, then I would tell you, like, man, life handed you a mess. And it's just, it might be a season, right? It may be that you're going to stay at home for a few years and see these young girls until they get older, right? That's not the case. Your mom's making some choices on a daily basis as to where she's going to work and how much money she's going to make and what she's going to ask of her 19-year-old son. And so you're making decisions for an adult, and that's not your job. Your job is, unfortunately, you've been cast in the role to make sure your 11-year-old little sisters have food and water, which is never your job, but here we are, right? And so, man, you're a man of noble character. But I want you to hear what Rachel's saying. 5 years from now, what would be better? For you to have started pool cleaning and also gone to get a couple of community college classes on the side, and 5 years from now, you've got an associate's degree, and now you've got 4 employees of your own, and you're making $200,000? Or you're still making $50,000. This guy had to lay you off because business got slow, and now you're making $35,000, and you're in the same bedroom in the same house, except you're 24 years old. Mm-hmm. Like, if you think on a longer time horizon, what's the best thing you can do for your family? It might be to go spread your wings and fly.
I think so too. I think I just needed some I didn't even feel like I was crazy or leaving.
No, you're not
family,
crazy. You're gonna feel guilty
because it sounds unkind.
Yeah, it
right?
sounds unkind. You're gonna feel guilty.
Yeah, like it sounds like, oh my gosh, I'm abandoning my family. But what I want to relieve you of is that was never supposed to be your role. And like John said, if there was like a dire situation of something, that's another conversation. But yeah, I mean, like it's a grown up problem that your mom, who has 2 daughters at home, should be the one calling the show and saying,
right, what do I
can't pay my bills. What do I need? What can I do? And looking at her budget and all of that. And I think you can help guide that, Max, but you can't even change the way she handles money either, because you don't have that ability. We don't have the ability to change people.
Here's where I think you can get some peace in this transaction, okay? Number one, you're going to feel guilty. Just know that's coming, okay? You may have heard me say this on the show. Choose guilt over resentment every time. If you just stay there and wither, you're going to resent your mom, and that's not fair to her. So choose guilt. The second thing is come up with a number and sit down and tell your mom, for 6 months, I'm going to send $1,000 home. I'm going to send $750 home, and make sure that everybody's clear on when this money is coming, and give her a ramp. You'll sleep a little better at night, I think, and it's going to be not just a cutoff, but it will be a peaceful departure. I'm sorry, my brother. Let us know if we can help.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Jade Warshaw. And look, if there's anybody who knows about student loan debt, it's me. My husband and I had $280,000 of it. But we were able to dig ourselves out, and you can too. If your student loan payment and interest rate are burying you, refinancing could be the solution. Now, I recommend contacting my friends at Laurel Road today. Through their online application, you can get an initial rate quote in less than 5 minutes. And if you have a more complex situation, you can schedule 30 minutes to talk to an actual human being. Thank goodness. Laurel Road makes it simple. There are no fees involved, and you could save thousands over the life of your loan. Remember, you should only refinance if it makes sense in your situation. So, if you're looking for a low rate or a shorter term so that you can pay off these student loans fast, talk to my friends at Laurel Road about their competitive interest rates and how you could actually get a lower rate by signing up for autopay. Listen, nobody's coming to save you from your student loan debt. If you want it gone, you can't mess around. Go to laurelroad.com/Ramsey to find out more about student loan refinancing. Again, that's laurelroad.com/Ramsey.
Welcome back to the Ramsey Show. The question of the day comes from Why Refi. The Ramsey Show, this is one of our new sponsors, which we love, because if you are in default with private student loans, you need to contact Why Refi. And obviously, we don't encourage letting your loans go into default. We teach responsibility, but these amounts have some of you struggling, and there is a way forward. So Why Refi was created for people in your situation. So go to whyrefi.com/Ramsey. That's the letter Y, REFY.com/Ramsey. May not be available in all states.
All right, today's question comes from Justin in Virginia. Justin writes, how can I stop being jealous of how much my siblings and in-laws earn? My wife and I have no debt and a really good household income. We're happy in our careers. We're not missing out on anything due to how much we earn. I just can't figure out how to not be so triggered and frustrated by other people's income.
Wow.
It's a very self-aware question.
Very interesting, yes.
Yeah. What do you think, Rachel?
Gosh. And I'm curious I wonder if he knows the actual number of the income, or if he is making up a story in his head that they're making a ton because of how they're living.
Gotcha.
Because lifestyle and income are obviously two different things. So I'd be curious on that. What's causing you to think that they're earning more? Is it because of how they live their life? And kind of the sucky part is when you live your life responsibly for a season, it's not going to look flashy. Eventually, you'll start to build wealth and you can enjoy it. But there is kind of that season of grounding, which is where you guys are. But if you know the number and you're like, oh no, they make $500,000 or whatever crazy a year. I mean, I have learned, John, when moments like that come up for me, and it's not income necessarily, it could be, but I don't hear people's income a lot, but a situation that they're experiencing something that I want to experience. As much as I can muster up just celebrating them, it's amazing how that fades quickly, where the eyes are off of me. My eyes are off of me. And you can just be excited for somebody, right? Genuinely. And it doesn't always come easy, I don't think, but when you can just be happy for them, and hopefully maybe they're in a great career that's helping other people or something. I don't know, that you can find like the silver lining in what they're doing and being excited. But the fact that you're being triggered constantly, I'm wondering, your level of contentment is obviously not fully baked, right?
Yeah, I have found that I always want to pull the string that's attached to that story. And somewhere in Justin's heart and mind, the dollar amount that you earn every year is attached to value, to how much you're worth.
Yep.
And somebody told you that somewhere, and I found it helpful to get to where did that story come from? Oh. Dad used to tell older brother how great he was because he made $6 an hour. I only made $5. Like whatever that story is.
Yep.
But the other thing is, I think you're right. I think, Justin, it'd be pretty cool to, out of the blue, write your siblings a letter and just say, I just need you to know I'm so proud of you. I see how hard you're working, and I see what an amazing, and instead of, when you feel that jealousy, our tendency is to pull away. Instead of go towards that person to celebrate them. And our bodies have a way of adjusting for that proximity. Like we're in support, and it just over time realizes, oh, we're not in competition. I don't have to fight you. I have a great life. One other quick thing. Often when you are creating a life, I'll say it like this, that is less alive. When you are we go to work, we make this much money, we have this couch, we have this house, we have this car. We were supposed to be happy here. It's easy to put your eyes up and start looking for what other people have that you don't. And it often, over the course of my life, when I found myself jealous in certain places, it has often brought me and my wife back to the table to say, what life are we creating for ourselves, and where do we find excitement and aliveness and adventure and joy in our home? Because it's not. I'm starting to look for other places.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
And it almost always comes back to we've become co-managers of our house.
That's a good point.
And so
being stagnant in life. And I think we've gone through a season of that.
Yeah.
You look up and you're like, oh my gosh, we've just been doing the same thing, and there's not as much laughter or joy
it's
or
a lack
levity,
of intentionality.
right?
That's right.
But when you say no, we're putting the phones away, we're doing family game night, and we're gonna do this stupid game that's so silly, but everyone ends up laughing, right? You just do these things. And they don't have to be expensive. I mean, it was last break before the summer though. I think it was spring. And we took all the kids and we went to a local high school, parking lot randomly with bikes. And they still talk about it. They're like, do you remember we rode bikes in a parking lot? And I was like, you ride bikes all the time. But it was like this, I don't know. It was so small and insignificant, but to them, right, it brought this other magic of this new place or whatever it was for them. But it's those things. And again, it doesn't have to cost money. You don't have to go. You don't have to go travel to Europe to do that. Find it in your home. Because gosh, we need it, all of us, right? Especially this time of year, with election season and everything. We're just like, oh my gosh, give me some levity and enjoyment with the people that you love. And find those rhythms.
It's recognizing levity and joy for 99% of us is a choice.
Yeah.
There are people in abusive situations, yes. There are people who are in deep poverty, yes. There are people who are abjectly on the margins, yes. But for most of us, we go home and we look at our spouse and we choose what happens next. We choose how we respond. We choose our frustration. We choose to not pick up the trash, not put our clothes away. We choose to just watch TV, just sit there on our phones. All of those are choices. And that means we can choose something different.
Yep.
And so, Justin, I challenge you to sit down with your wife and y'all reimagine your life. And you might end up in the exact same space, but the exercise of reimagining it, what adventures do we want to create inside of our own home, even for no money? What does that look like?
Totally.
It can rearrange everything. And write your siblings a letter, a handwritten letter. Tell them how freaking proud of them you are. It's so cool.
It's going to swallow some pride. To do that, right? Yeah. When you're in a state of,
or it opens your heart up and you realize
it does, but that takes okay. Yeah. I'm gonna celebrate something that is not always fun for me, right? But you start to learn it. So good. All right, up next we have Dan in Eugene, Oregon. Hey Dan, welcome to the show.
Hi Rachel. Hey John. How are you?
We're doing great. How are you?
I'm
not great.
Rough number of years, I guess. My question for you is, how do I calculate when I can feasibly retire and or when I can start to plan a second career? And the rough years is I'm about 3 years into being a widower.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you. I have 3 kids. 2 of them will go to college. I owe $380 on my house, and I sort of, as I was sort of looking at, as I don't know, I guess getting our lives back in order over the last number of years, it's one of the Ramsey quotes of why don't they teach this stuff in school is of how do you even calculate
right
what is the right trajectory? And now that I'm doing it for alone, 1, and 2 is for myself. It's a loan, I guess I should say, or as a single person.
Sure. Yep. How old are you, Dan?
48.
48. Okay.
Hey, Dan, before Rachel's going to walk you through the numbers of it, can I challenge you on something?
Yeah.
And this might be a harder exercise than the math problem.
Sure.
But I would love for you to spend some time. And unfortunately, I don't know that you can do this with anybody other than just taking Dan out on a retreat. But I would love for you to figure out or ask yourself, what do you want it to feel like when you walk in your front door at the age of 55?
Yeah, it's
because I want you to ask yourself, what kind of life do you want to have at 55? Because that's going to determine the math problem.
Yeah, because I think when you get to the numbers really quick, Dan, we only have about 40 seconds, so I'm sorry for the short call. It's going to be looking at what do you have in retirement now, and then averaging out, average returns 10 to 12%, whatever that looks like, and knowing your lifestyle. To John's point, how much is it going to take to run your household at retirement, and what is it going to look like to be able to you have to calculate inflation and all of that. Now, if you have not sat down with a SmartVestor Pro, I would do that. You can go to RamseySolutions.com and find one in your area, because I want to be able to see all of your numbers, everything that you have in retirement, including this house, and what's going to be the best bet to get you in a place. But again, it's lifestyle, it's return on the market, and inflation that goes up every year is kind of the determining factors. So thanks for the call. Thanks to everyone in the booth. John, thanks for a great hour. This is The Ramsey Show.
Live from Nashville, Tennessee, this is The Ramsey Show, where we talk about your money, your loves, your relationships, and your life. I'm John Deloney, joined by #1 best-selling author Rachel Cruz, and we're taking your calls on just about everything. 888-825-5225, 888-825-5225. If you're joining us in the Ramsey Network app, welcome. We are glad you are here. Let's go out to Detroit Rock City and talk to Ken. What's up, Ken?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Dude, we're rocking on to the break of dawn, brother. What's up?
All right. I guess my question would be that here in Detroit, we have a pretty good income, one-income household, family of 3 kids, married, and it just seems like living paycheck to paycheck. Can't seem to get ahead. Just kind of almost feel like we're struggling here.
When you say pretty good income, I found on this show, some people think that means $1 million, and some people may think that means $40,000. What's a pretty good income?
We're at about $275 to $300K a year with my income.
Okay. In Detroit, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, we classify that as pretty good. Or in the global sense, the top of the top of the top, teeny tiny percent of one. Yeah, so you're crushing.
That's great. So Ken, so you're saying that you feel like you guys are still living paycheck to paycheck, even with this. Have you guys dug into any numbers? Do you know why that this is happening?
Yeah, I'm pretty. I try to stay up on the numbers, and we got a lot of debt. We got a lot of student debt. I went back to school for anesthesia, so I'm a nurse anesthetist.
Okay.
So I'm sitting on I'm at right about $181,000 in student loan debt still.
Okay. What other debt is there?
So we got that. We owe $200,000 on the house, $203,000.
Okay.
On the house. We at one point took out a 401k loan, which we still owe $45,000 on.
Okay.
I have a HELOC loan, which another $17,000 on that.
Okay.
And about $20,000 in credit cards.
Okay.
What about cars?
Cars, we have 2 leases. They were both 3-year leases. One we still owe $13,000 on, and the other one we owe $10,000.
How much a month are you guys paying those leases? How much are the payments?
One of the payments is $415 a month, and the other one's about $460.
About $1,000.
Yeah.
All right. Rachel's going to walk you through this. Can I tell you something? I've spent a lot of my career sitting behind closed doors with medical professionals, and can I tell you, you're not crazy? Is that cool? You're not nuts.
Yeah. That helps.
Here's what you've done. You've done exactly what they told you to do.
Yeah.
Okay. They gave you some quippy things like cars are depreciating assets. You never want to own them, so just lease them. You're going to buy new ones anyway. You got to buy a house that looks like this because they can't take it away from you if you ever, get in super trouble. And hey, if you can make this money, but you got to go back to school, of course you do. And it just keeps going and going. And you look up and you make, a little over $250,000 a year and you can't breathe and it doesn't make any sense. So hear me say you're not nuts. Also hear me say you can get out of like the path out of this is not difficult. It'll suck, but it's not hard.
Okay.
But it's going to take 2 years of you deciding to live a radically different life for just 24 months or so, maybe 36 months. But I think 24 months, given you can work extra shifts. And I think you can clean this up and set an entirely new trajectory for your home. Because what your home doesn't have right now, you've got everything in your house. You don't have any peace.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah. No, that's correct.
Okay. If you and your wife can settle on that being the goal, not the cars, not the house, if you settle on, I want to walk in from work and I want everyone to be happy that I'm here. I want to walk in from work with a smile on my face, not with my head slumped over. It's going to take about 24 rough months and you can get there.
Yeah.
Okay. I just know too many people in the medical profession who are dropping their kids off for college and they still have their own student loans. That's just madness, right? Mm-hmm. It's madness. Those are my friends, by the way, bro. Like it just is. So you're not crazy. All right.
Yeah, and Ken, and I think y'all's situation too, it is the perfect picture of just like this lifestyle creep, right? I'm like, you just a little bit here, a little bit there, add a car, go on vacation, go out to eat. Like we're just making good money because you're bringing home probably $28,000 a month or so.
Yeah, I mean, and it depends too, because that's with a little bit of overtime, but but it's like consistent,
right? Sure, yeah. But you look at that, just your monthly take home, and you're like, man, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot you can do with it, but also, like John's saying, the normalization of like, yeah, but we could spend that. I mean, it's the classic idea that your income is not the issue for most people. It is your money habits and the way that you handle your money. And so that magnification is exactly what you guys are experiencing. So it's like, yeah, we'll get 2 nice cars. We'll do this. We'll get a little bit more debt. And it's just payment. So a lot of this income is going to these payments. So clearing all of it up, I think, is key. And I think you and your wife sitting down just as an experiment and just say, what if we made $100,000? Which again is above the average household income that is $80,000.
Yeah. Nobody's starving.
So even more of a fun exercise, just put $80,000 and say, okay, if we brought in $80,000 a year, what it comes out to per month, how can we live on that? Like live on that, and then extra from that of what you actually bring in is going to be thrown at the debt or whatever it looks like. But just I think it's always a fun experiment for married couples to sit down and do this, like play the income game and just see how much can we actually, if we had to do this, what would our life look like if we had to live on $60,000 a year, on $50,000 a year, on $70,000 a year? And then the great thing about you, Ken, is that's not what you guys are making. So the margin is there. It's just the choice of lifestyle. And so getting your lifestyle wrapped and under control is going to be number one. And it is going to feel like a shock because it's not going to be going out to eat. It's going to be shopping at Aldi, not Whole Foods. It's going to be, you're going to be living, right? Like you're making 70 to 80. And that's how you're going to clean it up. You're not going to clean it up by just kind of here and there. And we'll kind of do it, but we're still going to still go on vacation. We're still going to go out to the nice, date nights that we want and drop $200. Like you can't do that. Like if you're going to do this, you have to radically do it. And so you and your wife sitting down and saying, okay, here's our budget for the next 2 years. And mapping that out and mapping out your lifestyle. And then from there, starting to pay off these debts, smallest to largest. And what's wild, again, about that income coming in, I'm like, you guys could clean up the HELOC in 2 to 3 months. You could clean up all the credit card debt in 2 to 3 months. You can make a lot of really big progress, Ken, if you guys decide to do it. And then the hope on the other end, we always talk about you live like no one else. It's not going to be fun, but you guys can do this. Even the big mountain of the $180,000 student loan, you can get it cleaned up. And if you live like no one else, later you're bringing in $30,000 a month.
You can do
with
whatever
no
you
payments.
want. Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
Now you get to do whatever you want. But I would see, talk to the car company and look at your leases. Leases are always a little bit more confusing of the buyout and everything. But if you can get out of those, just do what you can to dwindle down this debt like as fast as possible, Ken. And you guys will see the progress. It's just going to be up to you all if you want to really do this. But the math is there. It's going to work.
Math is easy. And you're going to take every shift. You're going to miss Little League games. You're going to do whatever it takes for 24 months.
And make a crap ton of money and pay this off.
Are free forever. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey, technology has changed a lot in the last 30 years. Now the hot topic is AI, and I understand that it might seem intimidating. But if you use AI the right way, it's just another tool to help you work smarter and faster, like a calculator or a cordless drill. So if you run a business, you'd better get on board with it before you get left behind. And NetSuite by Oracle offers AI-powered tools that help small businesses improve efficiency and make smarter decisions by bringing all their major business processes into one platform. That way, there's one source of truth for the real-time data you need to take advantage of opportunities. Then you can forecast better, scale more efficiently, and streamline those manual tasks that take too long. So join the more than 41,000 businesses, including Ramsey Solutions, that rely on NetSuite to help tackle some of their biggest challenges. And right now, you can download the CFO's Guide to AI and Machine Learning at netsuite.com/Ramsey. That's free at netsuite.com/Ramsey.
Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. Home ownership is something that we believe should be part of your financial plan, but it's really hard these days. The price of houses and the housing market, it is absolutely insane. But when you do it the right way, when you buy a home the right way, it brings you peace. It's not a burden. It is a blessing. And so if you are looking to sell your home or purchase a home the right way, the way we teach, you want to make sure to check out some top agents in your area that we trust. These are Ramsey trusted agents. They have years of experience that will help you make wise decisions when it comes to pricing, marketing, and making or choosing the right offer for your home. So to find a Ramsey trusted real estate agent for free, go to RamseySolutions.com/agent and check them out. All right, up next, we have Scott in Pittsburgh. Hey, Scott, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for taking my call.
Absolutely. How can we help?
Yeah, I've loaned $80,000 to my cousin for his house flipping business through multiple notarized promissory notes over the last 4 years. I've received that $80,000 back, but none of the $45,000 in interest. My cousin recently informed me that his business is in trouble. He lives 4 hours away, has 4 kids, a rocky marriage, and other debt, so he's not rich to say the least. He now won't return any of my calls or texts, and I sought some legal counsel, and all of the notes have a confession of judgment clause, so legally we're good even to not go to court to get a judgment, so that's in my favor. That side of the family has a lot of crazy in it, to the extent that one individual is a little crazy, a little dangerous to be around. Personally, my wife and I are in baby step 7. We have 4 kids, 2 high-stress jobs, an extremely active social life in our church. So part of me says, just let this go and go focus on your life. But another part of me says, go get the money that you've earned in interest, especially since he won't call you back. I feel like I've let my wife down on this decision, even though we haven't really lost any money. So I'm just wondering, what path should I go down, and how do I emotionally accept that path?
One time, well, I won't tell that story. That's a personal story. Scott, walk away. Walk away. And I think the making peace is making peace with yourself, because you knew this was a real possibility before you did this.
Yep.
And you tried to cover yourself with a bunch of legal paperwork, and you had a family member that you probably kind of deep down knew was going to do this, looked at you and said, hey, I'm not doing that. And I don't think you let anybody down. I think it's a story you're telling yourself to kind of cover over the fact that you kind of feel like you got what you knew was probably going to happen. And so I'd make peace with it. Don't ever loan family members money again, and let's go on about our life.
All right. Thank you.
I mean, does that feel right?
It does. It's kind of where I thought I was, but the whole, just not calling and texting back after, a 4-year relationship where we had a great back and forth, and, money was exchanged both ways, and things felt very comfortable. And then, all of a sudden it was just okay, it's gone. And
but that means you're going to try to go get your interest because you're mad. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things, not to say told you so, but we always tell people, even if you got it and even if you're close, don't borrow money because it changes the relationship. And now there's something wedged between you, and it's shame. And that's really hard to overcome. And so even if you send them a handwritten letter that just say, your debt's forgiven, I wish you the best, and go on about your life.
Yeah.
I know. And the story I'm playing in my head, Scott, I could be wrong, is he's probably panicking. Right. I mean, he has 4
His
kids.
life
He
is
has no
falling
right. Yeah. I
apart.
mean, he's fearful. I mean, his fear, radar is up all the way, and he probably can't even emotionally, in the fact, go there. The fact that you're family too, that adds a whole other dynamic.
Or the one guy he went to for help, he can't even do that anymore because there's $45,000 between the two of you.
Yeah, and I know there's probably some justice in you, Scott, even the way you laid out the question.
No, you're mad. Yeah,
I can tell that you're pissed. You're like, man, this isn't fair, right? Fair would be, I'm owed this money, and why am I not getting it, right? But I think John's right. I think there is a kind of a humble pill to swallow to say, okay, I want to move along with my life, because you can, right? Financially speaking, you guys are on baby step 7. You're fine. Is this the quote unquote like justice play? It's not. The justice play would be to take him to court and continue to wring out, the money that he doesn't have and take his family through. I mean, and you could, but you would definitely for sure, lose that relationship. And in the end, I don't know if that's worth $45,000 of your time and your energy and your mental capacity.
Yeah, agreed. I would say we didn't have a whole lot of relationship even before that. Considering like we were just 4 hours away. Not a strong relationship, but it's just a strange situation because of how great things were going for 4 years, and even talking together about projects that he was working on, and then it's just like all gone. Like,
do you know what happened to his business? I'm just curious if he just did bad deals or what.
Same story that Dave always talks to, right? He had a partner. The partner skipped town. The whole business was on him, and he couldn't keep the whole business afloat. So, went from being very profitable over 4 years to, taking a step back over the last 18 months or so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Send him a letter that just says, "Hey, brother, you're freed. I'm tearing up the promissory notes, and I wish you the best."
All right.
And I think you'll feel a weight off your shoulders. And by the way, next time you'll feel that sense of injustice, and it's right. So you're not crazy. There's nothing wrong with you. Whatever. Like, you'll get that little angry moments every now and then, but you got your money back. Count your blessings.
Yeah.
Let's walk away.
So sorry. All right, John, I'm going to take a question from the Ramsey Network app, those of you that are listening. And this question is one, again, when you do this, you don't have to call in. You just click the link in the show notes and download the app for free, which you guys have done because you're listening there. But this question is, I determined my why statement is to help people heal so that they can be free. And this has become a motivation for a career change to become a mental health counselor. That would mean adding $40,000 to my current undergrad debt of $40,000. So the original was $110,000. What is your recommendation for funding a master's in mental health counseling?
Oh, man.
Our mental health professional sitting to my right.
Yeah. I guess they'll teach you in counseling, one of the core tenets is you can't give what you don't have. So if your heart is to help people heal so that they may be free, and in order to do that, you chain yourself to a student loan company for another 5 or 10 or 15 years, you're going to end up robbing Peter to pay Paul. And so I'm going to tell you, you can help people heal in your job as a school teacher. You can help people heal in your job as I'll tell you this, I got to my hotel last night. I was in Pittsburgh. I got to my hotel really, really late, and the woman checking us in was a saint. Just one of those people that you're around and your heart rate just goes down, and she was so kind. And she was a gift. She was a cup of cold water in the desert. It was after just a long, long day.
Yeah.
And so you can help people heal on the job site when y'all are pouring concrete. So this idea that you have to be a licensed mental health professional and you have to go into $40,000 of student loan debt on top of the 40 you already have out there, That's just unwise. And I had a graduate advisor that says, if you are sitting in a clinical chair and you don't know how you're going to pay your bills, you cannot sit across from somebody and say, I can help you, because you're not whole.
Interesting.
So what does that mean? That means get this 40 grand paid off as soon as possible. See if you can find some side work working in or around counseling offices or social work offices or in children's homes or in boys ranches or things like that, where you can work with people, make sure this is what you want to do, and then get a job at a local university as a housing director or something, and they will pay for your graduate degree. But don't double your debt load in order to do this one particular job when you can help people heal in a number of different capacities. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. All right, you've heard me say it 1,000 times, and I'm going to keep saying it. You're worth being well. And listen, therapy can help. I see a therapist, and let's be honest, a lot of you should too. But let's be real, taking that first step to see a therapist can feel overwhelming. Maybe it's the time, maybe you have some preconceived notions about therapy, maybe it's the cost. But we spend money on gym memberships, organic groceries, essential oils, Little League practices, tracker watches, but for some reason when it comes to our mental and emotional well-being, we hesitate. Your mental and emotional health are just as important as your physical health. And the good news, BetterHelp makes therapy more affordable and convenient than ever. It's online, so you can talk with your therapist when it works for your schedule. No more waiting rooms, no long commutes, and no 6-month waiting lists. You just get online and fill out a short survey to get matched with a licensed therapist. And if it's not the right fit, you can switch at any time for no extra cost. Your well-being is worth it. Visit BetterHelp.com/Ramsey Radio to get started. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Ramsey Radio. Welcome back to the Ramsey Show. I'm John Deloney, joined by Rachel Cruz. Let's go out to Albany, New York, and talk to Jessica. Hey, Jessica, what's going on?
Hi.
How's it going?
So I'm calling because I have a whole life insurance policy that I've been holding on to since 2012. And now I'm hearing Dave and you guys, and hearing that whole is garbage and that I should switch to term. But I'm not sure about the tax implications and stuff like that. I just don't really know what to do with the life insurance policy from here on out.
Okay. Have you looked into what the payout will be if you dissolve it?
So it says the cash value is $8,000.
Okay. And
of your money back to you? That drives me crazy.
Yeah. And have you looked into term at all to make sure that are you healthy, Jessica? Like you could probably get another insurance.
So
okay.
I'm going to be 39. I'm 39 now. I'm going to be 40 next year. So I'm kind of like, do I hold on to it? I have 2 little ones. My husband's the primary beneficiary, but my oldest daughter is the contingent. And I'm like, do I hold on to this? I already called the company and asked them if I should, if I could switch it from whole to term. And of course they said, no, well, you could cash it out and then get a term insurance policy with us. And I'm like, I don't know what the tax implications are or anything, or if it'd be worth it to do that, or if I should just hold on to, because it looks like it's gotten like $1,500 in the last year.
Yeah, but it's your money.
According to the statements right.
So the way, they take your money,
get it back.
You overpay them. They invest that money. They take a piece of the investment return, and then they call you and they're like, look what you have.
And it's a crappy return anyways. So no, I would cancel it regardless of whatever the fees and tax implication is. I don't know what taxes are when you cash it out. It may be income. It may be like a kind of a capital gains.
It's $8,000. It's not very much money.
Yeah. So I would pay the taxes on it.
$55 a month. So I've been ignoring it for all this time. How much are you paying? I'm listening to you guys. I'm like, all right, I need to do something about this.
Yeah. How much are you paying a month for it?
$55.
$55.
Yeah, I'm a state worker. I make around $50 a year, so I wasn't really missing it,
Yeah.
Okay, $55. Okay, gotcha.
Okay, yeah. So what I would do,
don't want to be robbed slowly by the
and that's
what either.
Totally, and that's what it ends up being when you're pairing an investment and insurance together. You're always going to get a crappy product, usually on both sides, but for sure on the investment side. So So yeah, I would cancel it for sure today. But before you cancel it, I should say, make sure you have term in place because I do want you to have life insurance. You guys have two little kids. So I would still have life insurance. And so you do work. Is that what you said, outside the home?
Yeah.
Okay, so I would get a policy 10 to 12 times your annual income. And that's around the policy that you would need. And I would go to Xander. You can go to Xander.com or give them a call, Xander Insurance. And they're great because they're an insurance broker. So they're going to shop all different companies to get you the best deal versus like this one you call, I don't know, State Farm, and it's just State Farm or whatever. You know, like you'll be able to get all different kinds of quotes. And so that's what I would do. And then I would go ahead and apply and get that coverage going first. And the day that goes into place, the term policy, then I would call Whole Life, cancel it, get your $8,000 and move on.
Gotcha. All right. And then, okay, so you said 10 to 12 months for my
10 to 12 times
life insurance policy.
10 to 12 times.
10 to 12 times
your annual income. That's
yes,
right.
If you make $50,000, I would get a policy at a minimum of $500,000, which should not cost you very much money a year.
Okay.
It won't be a huge
awesome.
cost. And by the way, this isn't just us pitching a product. When I was 40 or 41,
no, I understand.
I did the exact thing you're doing. I called Xander and got my insurance moved over to them with term, and it's fantastic.
Gotcha. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. I just want to say also, God bless you guys, and thank you for the work that you do.
Well, thank you so much.
Thanks,
You're super kind. And yeah, Rachel, I hear that a lot on what's the taxes going to be? It's $8,000. Let's pay the taxes and move on with your life.
For whatever it is. Yeah. Because
if you have $8 million, well, let's start worrying about the tax implications.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah. When you start looking at, $55 a month, and it may feel like, oh, that's, no big deal. But over time, what it adds up, and then what you end up paying for term is a fraction of that anyways.
That's right.
And always, again, the rule of thumb is your insurance and your investments should never be mixed.
Right.
Because you're not going to get the rate of return that you could if you put it, even in an index fund or Vanguard or the market, right? In any other place, you're going to get a better rate of return. And a lot of these too, I'm like, they just, it's that slow leak that they just continue just to take and take. And if it goes up, it just goes up. And you know what I mean? It doesn't feel, it doesn't feel clean. Yeah. Whole life. There's some entanglements there that
there's mixed
are not
priorities
great.
there, right? Let's go out to Spokane, Washington, and talk to Elizabeth. Hey, Elizabeth, what's happening?
Hi, guys. How are you?
Awesome. We're running a scam called a YouTube show and a podcast. What are you up to?
I love it. I watch you guys all the time.
Very cool. What's up?
Not much. I was just hoping to get your guys' advice. We are pretty good, but we're not as good as we could be. I feel like we're still struggling month to month, kind of like paycheck to paycheck. And how do we get ahead? How do we start, invest saving? We have 3 kids. I homeschool. We're a one-income household. And the economy is kind of killing us.
Yeah. So here's the hard truth. You and me and your spouse and my wife and Rachel and Winston, all of us go home as a family and we make choices. Mm-hmm. And that's not how it was set up for us. We all grew up and they're like, dude, if you just go to college or just do this, then you can do this and this and this and this and this. And sometimes the dream of we want mom to stay at home. Awesome. We want to not get into the schools. We want to homeschool our kids. Cool. But we can't eat, or we're just floating month to month to month. And it's you guys as a family having to back out of that situation and say, okay, the price of milk is bananas right now. The price of bananas is bananas right now, right? And so
it is. My 2 youngest are not school age, so if I went back to work, we'd have to pay for daycare.
Well,
I don't think he's saying. I don't think you're saying go back to work.
I'm not saying you go back to work. I'm saying everybody makes choices.
So Elizabeth, I want to know you guys financially. Where are you guys at? Do you guys have consumer debt?
No, we have credit cards. We don't use them. They are zero balance. We own our cars and all our vehicles.
How much does your husband make a year?
About $65,000.
Okay. And are you guys on a written plan, like a very detailed budget every single month that you know exactly here's the amount we have to spend? Okay. I think
no.
Okay, so I think the budget is probably
I need to do that.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I think that's going to help a lot. And if you stay on the line after this call, Christian will pick up and we'll give you every dollar premium for a year, because I think the budget, it's one of those places, Elizabeth, that once you do it and you actually have boundaries around certain categories in your life and you force yourself to live within them, then suddenly you're like, oh, there's our margin. There's our margin. It's not getting eaten up by that extra, fast food run that we're going to go do or out to eat or whatever. Like it is amazing when you do plan out and stick to that plan. It's going to take about 3 months for you guys to get it to work. So remember that 90 days, give yourself a lot of grace between now and Christmas. But I want that to be your homework to say, okay, we're gonna sit down and do this. And then out of that and finding some margin, and you'll look back on your accounts and your checking account last month and be like, oh my gosh, we're paying for 2 subscriptions we never use. Like when you actually start getting in the weeds of it, it is amazing what comes to the surface. And even if it's $30-$40 here or there, that adds up. I mean, that will get you some margin. And so do you guys have an emergency fund?
Oh, hold on one second. There you go.
Oh, that's fine. Okay. So Elizabeth, I would,
I messed up the phones here. There you go.
Do you guys have an emergency fund, Elizabeth? Do you have any savings?
We do not have a specific emergency fund. We've got a decent amount in our checking account.
Okay. So what I would do is open up a high yield savings, and I would move 3 to 6 months of expenses out of your checking out to that, and then that's not touched. So that's your emergency fund. If you have to have a few months to add to that savings to get to that 3 to 6 months, do it. And then from there, I would start investing 15% of your income into retirement and start that going. That can be through his 401k or Roth IRA you guys can open up. There's a time in your life and the baby steps for renting. But you don't want to do it forever, because when you rent, you're still paying for a mortgage, just somebody else's. Plus, rent means instability in your budget because it always goes up, never down. So when you're ready to buy, make sure you work with a mortgage partner you can rely on, Churchill Mortgage. Churchill is Ramsey trusted to help you make the move from renting to home ownership wisely. Churchill understands that when you buy a home the Ramsey way, your mortgage payment will be a consistent, manageable part of your monthly budget. Plus, when your home is paid off, that was your largest expense. Now it's extra money in your pocket and an asset towards turning you into a baby steps millionaire. Get started on the American dream of home ownership today at churchillmortgage.com. That's churchillmortgage.com.
Welcome back. 888-825-5225. This is the Ramsey Show. Let's go out to Kimberly in Seattle, Washington. Hey, Kimberly, what's up?
Hey, are you still there?
We're here. How's it going? How can we help?
Good. Well, not good, but maybe you can help me out with some suggestions. My husband just like about a week ago was went to the hospital and was diagnosed with basically liver. His liver is shot. It's beyond repair. They gave him maybe a year and a half to live.
Oh my gosh, Kimberly. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. And he struggled with alcohol, addiction off and on over the years. And he said, I knew that this was probably going to happen, but when you're addicted, and it's hard to stop something. Yeah. So anyway, our situation right now is, he's working or trying to work because he doesn't feel well. And I've been doing the best I can to do Ramsey stuff without him not being on board, which means not very much. Anyway, I have questions here as to what we should do because this freight train is moving.
Do you guys have
moving forward?
Do you guys have
we
kids,
own
Kimberly?
Our own house. We have adult kids who are doing really well.
Okay.
Off on their own, they're amazing.
How old are you guys?
I just turned 60. He's a few years younger than me, 3 years younger than me.
Okay.
Anyway, and in fact, I just I had a hospital bill. I took a grinding job to pay the balance off because of insufficient, insurance, and just got it done. So here we are with another hurdle. So I'm looking at, we do own our own house, but because I haven't had access to the funding I wanted to do to keep up on it. It needs exterior repairs that are fairly expensive, as in roof, gutters, some siding, and then paint after that. It's an amazing house. It's in really good condition, but that would have to be done if we were to possibly sell and downsize. If that would be one of the options we should consider. I don't know.
Okay.
We have a lot of stuff sitting around that my other half cannot get rid of anything ever. So getting those, options for getting those things sold and how to approach him on that. We'd have to have some kind of come and remove.
Well, Kimberly, let me hop in here.
Yes, please.
You've gone directly, and quite honestly, if you've been married to somebody who's struggling with alcohol for a long time, you have been responding to crisis after crisis and thing after thing forever, right?
Amen.
And then, so the way you said this, I want to challenge you on it. Well, now we got another hurdle. This is not just another hurdle.
No, it's big.
This is the stop
one,
sign.
I think.
Right.
Yes.
And so you have been working with somebody for a long time. Everything in this conversation has changed now. And the conversation changes to now we have an hourglass. We have a clock that's ticking. And the doctors clicked it on for us. And so we're not talking about how you feel. If you really like this collection of bottle caps you've been keeping for like that ship is over. That ship has sailed out to harbor. We are now creating a life that I'm going to have to inhabit because you're going to be gone.
Yeah.
And that looks like making sure I got a home with 4 walls on it and I can pay bills.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And some of it you're going to I remember sitting with somebody that I care about deeply, and I was helping them, and their house was full of stuff, and I was trying to help them throw it away. This is several years ago. And I just finally stopped and looked at him and said, I need you to hear me say this. When you die, I'm going to throw all of this away. I can do it now, or I can do it when you're gone. And there was a long, long pause, and they said, you're going to have to do it when I'm gone. And I said, okay. I'm moving on with my day. I'm not going to spend another second here. I've already made that choice, but I'm not going to fight that in this moment. See what I'm saying? So I want you to.
He was not even used to that idea yet. It hadn't even been introduced, right?
Right. So here's what we're doing. We're reverse engineering this thing for the 4 walls. I hate to live like this, but this is the clock you've been given. I want to go 18 months and start working backwards. What does life look like? And you don't have to do a roof and siding and gutter. You don't have to do all that at the same time. We're going to price each one of those things out. These things that we have to do so that we can keep our house. These things that we have to do so we have transportation. You're going to have a job if you don't have any retirement.
Yeah. What's the financial status, Kimberly? Do you guys? I know you said you own your home outright, so there's no mortgage or anything on it, correct?
Yeah. Well, I was, in the earlier days, I was working to, pay a little extra here and there because I'm the one that doesn't want to be in horrendous debt, a debt of any kind, actually. And he used to work a very good job, and part of it was an investment account that was like a retirement, right? And he got to a point where he wanted to start his own business. He'd always wanted to do this because his family had done it, and they had done it poorly, and they fought and they divorced, but it still is a dream of his. And
so did he cash out the investments?
So over time, yes, he cashed out almost everything.
So what's
and the rest
left?
Of it, he threw into a business without knowing how to run a business.
Yeah, I hear you.
And Kimberly, you're going to have to set that aside because you got an emergency in front of you.
Yeah. So what debt? What debt? I know. No, you're fine. You're fine. What debt do you guys have? Any at all? Any consumer debt? Credit cards, car loan?
No.
Okay.
We have no debt.
No debt. Okay. And how much money are you?
Property taxes and things like that.
Okay. Are you working, Kimberly? Do you work?
I was, in order to pay off my hospital debt.
Okay,
was
yeah.
horrendously huge, and
Okay.
I finally got that paid off, but it was very hard. It was just a
how
grunt
how
job,
much?
and it was
Yeah.
very hard
so-
on me
okay.
physically.
Okay. So
And I
not
had
in a
to
great
stop.
position to work. Okay. What was he making a year?
No. What's he making now?
Yes.
To
keep you guys.
Crap! I should know this.
No, it's fine. 30,000, 70,000. Do you have any round?
Yeah, 30-something.
30-something. Okay.
30-something.
Okay. And that's
Let's call it 35.
and that's enough. Okay. So, and any investment. Sorry, I know you said he cashed out his to start the business. Do you
No,
you have any
cashed them
retirement?
all out.
Okay, so there's no investments, no retirement. And does he have life insurance?
Nope.
No. Okay. Okay. So what I want you to do, Kimberly, is the silver lining from a financial standpoint. All of this is you guys have no debt. I mean, you don't even have a mortgage. So so that in and of itself is like that's a relief. So what John was saying, the four walls. I want you to go and do a budget, Kimberly, and I want you to stay on the line. And we're going to give you Financial Peace University and Every Dollar Premium because I want you to start budgeting and I want you to know to the penny.
No, I do have every dollar already.
Oh, you do? Okay. So to know
And
what you...
thank God for that. That has been like saving my emotional...
I'm so glad because I think if you have those numbers in front of you of the things you have to do, you have to keep the lights on, the cell phone bill, and your insurance, food, gas in the car, you have all of that. And that's what you're going to have to look at, Kimberly, and say, okay, I have to at least make this, right? When the time comes, I have to at least make this. And then I would not encourage you to sell the house or even to put in a ton of repairs right now. I think you're fine. What I would do
Thank God,
is,
I don't want to do that.
and I wouldn't unless your roof is leaking or something. But like for now, and then Kimberly, when the time comes, I want you to grieve. I want you to go through that process and don't make a big financial decision until about 6 months to a year. And if in 2 years, 3 years, you decide to sell the home and downgrade, take some of the equity, you can do that. But don't feel like you have to make these big decisions today. Today, I just want your four walls covered between now and 18 months. I'm so sorry, though. I'm so sorry.
Kimberly. That's the first hour in the books. We'll be right back on The Ramsey Show.